162 of Noodle Time. Welcome back. Here with me is the Mileage Counter, OSG, and a very special guest from the search, Adrian Valdez. How's it going, y'all?
What up? What up, man?
Doing good
Mileage
about yourself.
mileage tracker. But hey, I did the last one for the season right now. So now just waiting on what other plans the Surge come up with. My supporter group, my homies, to see what else we're gonna do before the end of the calendar year. As you said, Adrian, bro, what's up, man? How you doing, bro?
Doing good. How y'all doing tonight?
Well, it's starting to miss the Dynamo, but there's definitely plenty of things we can talk about with the offseason starting and all that. But thankfully, we do have the Dash kicking a ball still, and and yeah, just a lot of soccer going around, a lot of life going on as well. So, oh man, excited for tonight, honestly, because there's a lot of news we have to talk about. But OSG, how are you feeling tonight?
Yeah, I'm okay, man. I'm okay. It's a little sad that we're coming to the end, and watching USA women right now lose to Portugal, disappointing. So it's international weekend for women's as well. So no dash right now. So I'm just chilling, bro. I don't know what to do myself. Texas is on the road, so there's not a home game this weekend. So no tailgate. I'm bored.
Yeah, it also sucks because Avery Patterson did start for the U.S. Women's National Team representing the Houston Dash, but yeah, losing right now. But they'll usually turn it around. So hoping for the best. But of course, guys, welcome back to Noodle Time. And maybe how the offseason turns out, we're trying to keep up with a live episodes every Thursday, but it's going to depend on the news cycle. But tonight, we definitely have a lot of things to talk about. But before we get into the offseason conversation and all that, a soccer game happened in Kansas City this past weekend, and we do have to talk about the Diamonds' last game of 2025. A scoreless draw at SKC, and there's a
As
couple things.
expected.
Yeah, there's a couple things that we we could talk about. It's been a little bit of grasping straws and trying to find several linings here and there, but unfortunately, it was more so the lineup that we all expected going into this one. Kind of like our best pieces with a combination of seeing what we can do or the players that would try to go ahead and keep. But Adrian, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you first. What were your expectations for the final game of the year? A season that has been really bad for the most part, and it's just been us fans trying to see what we can do from here going to next year.
I really wanted to see a lot more younger players. He said in that open practice, basically, that starting lineup and whoever he puts in is going to be on the team next season. He could have put in Pedro Cruz in the back. Yeah, we have Bond, but Pedro Cruz is a talent. You have Sebastian Rodriguez. He's too good for the dose. That kid destroys it. He did put Quinones in, which is nice because you see that speed. When you have a Nolly and him out there both together, it's scary what they can do together. And not to jump too far ahead to all season, but maybe put someone like James Rodriguez as a free agent. Yeah, he's going to sell jerseys. Might not
A
play.
lot of people,
He
a
might do
lot
a
of people
Messi.
like that. Yeah.
He might do a Messi and play like every other 3 games.
No, then no, no, no. Do not bring anybody here for those reasons. Bring somebody here who's going to play and make us better.
That's
Fuck
exactly what.
selling
That's all.
tickets.
That's all we want. And they only kept 19 players. They let a lot of people go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And we're definitely gonna go through the players
yeah,
that were let go a little bit more in depth. But uh, just going back to what you mentioned about the players starting and the expectations for the players that we're trying to keep for next year. That's what we were thinking about in the last episode because we were previewing the game to see what we could do from here. And the easiest thing you could do is to provide those opportunities to the players that, of course, are on the bench, don't get enough minutes, and
mm-hmm.
especially that's something that we really didn't discuss that much. But those players, of course, they're in the offseason mode right now, and you could even tell that we do have a ton of good players. that on all facets of the roster that we have, they could definitely be players that we could look into, and it start to get more involved because we do have the talent coming up from those. Even though the season was not ideal for those, at the end of the day, like the league is just set up in a way that is made so that the players can keep seeing playing time, develop over time,
Hmm.
and just be there. But the good news out of this game that you could definitely like tell is fantastic news is the fact that Nelson Quinones did make his first appearance for the first time in over 2 years, man. Like it's
Yeah.
been
Well, no. He did come into
No.
the end of the game 2 months ago, and they got benched
yeah
again. And now last game he brought back up, and I think it was to question if they're gonna accept his option or not. Which hindsight they do.
And he even played, I think, one dose game too between that spell.
Yeah, he did.
yeah.
He played a dose game. He played a Dynamo game. Took another break and then
Yeah.
played that game. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but when you watch that guy run, it's awkward. You can tell like he got hurt bad. Like it's like one leg's a little bit shorter or something, but it's a little weird when you see him run. Like you can tell he was hurt bad at one time.
and that injury was very severe.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, and I don't really want to watch that replay of the injury again
Oh
because
no.
I'm like scarred. So I'm like, no way. But it was severe. As a professional, it's really gonna be tough to recover from that type of injury, and I definitely sympathize with Nelson and his road to recovery. I'm also happy that he's like on the field playing again, and shout out to the technical staff to get him back on playing conditions because it's insane that you see that type of incident and 2 years later, like he's back on the field. It's incredible, and I do support him all the way to just be back with us because I would love to
Look,
see him return, but it's gonna be difficult.
everybody supports him, and shout out to Hinchada for calling out his career-ending injury, and welcome back Nelson Quinones, and proving them all wrong, and working on your FIFA skills and your Call of Duty skills, and you know, and Jeff Strong, G Money in the chat, welcome in, y'all. But yeah, Nelson Quinones, oh man, I'm ready for him to be back. Anali on one, Quinones on the other, and Ponce, okay, whatever. He's at the top, and whatever else we can work with to make this lineup better. But Quinones could be very exciting. Granted, he did look a little awkward, but man,
But he still has a little bit of time to recover a little bit better.
yeah, he's a young friggin' kid, man. He's a young friggin' kid, and now because of his contract, he won't be a U22 no more. He's still under 22, but he won't be a U22 no more, and which gives us more options, as Asher said. Another hindsight, as we'll get into later.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of things that Asher said to start looking forward to the next roster when we get into that topic. But it it really goes back to the the thing that I was really questioning about the last game of the season, a game that really doesn't matter to anybody, not even in the standings. That unfortunately, by definition, had to be played. Unfortunately, because it was one of the regular season games that we had to play, and honestly, I was more so okay with just starting everybody that doesn't really play because, of course, a good chunk of those players are not going to be in next year's roster. But still,
Hmm.
you're trying out new things. You're trying to see what we could do. And the one bad thing I wanted to say about this game is that I saw a stat from one of the guests we brought over in a previous episode a long time ago that covers Sporting Kansas City, and I was really flabbergasted at the fact that they have not recorded a single clean sheet since July at home, and we're the first team to get him back on the scoring sheet to end the year. So I'm like, I know it's the last game of the year. I know we're not really trying
Dynamo.
or showing up, and of course we had that offside call
Hmm.
that was supposed to be a penalty. Which, by the way, I don't know who was offside. I don't know what happened there, but at the end of the day, we didn't once again provide a lot of chances at goal, even though we had a couple that I thought we could have. Well, then again, we're back at the situation where Ponce is just there, and we do have all these players that could provide danger, but unfortunately, we go out of this game with a 0-0 draw that felt like a loss. And my expectations were on the floor, even, and I was
Hmm.
still very angry because I'm like,
Well, you always want to win. You always want something good. You always want a positive.
I always
But
want a
it's
positive. Yeah. I
especially on
mean,
the road this season, it was more of a positive than it was at home.
yeah. And it's worst home record in team history.
Hmm.
Uh, that we have never lost 9 games at home until this year. On the road, like we've been like, going back to last year, uh, winning, like getting all those wins and just going to playoffs that way. To now, it's kind of like we lost our momentum in a way, and I really, I'm so ready to move out of this game because it's like so meaningless at this point. But I want to hear OSG's thoughts about
Bro, this
the
game,
outcome
what
of
the
this game. Yeah,
yeah, 0-0. Totally kind of, I mean, did we expect to win? No, I don't think we expected to win. We were hopeful because it was on the road. Old rivalry at SKC. We know SKC is a tough place to play, but 0-0, boring game. Neither team had a 1 XG. Both were under and both scored zero. So, well, I think we had more shots on target, which is amazing. But man, same. It was, bro, bullshit. Good thing the defense played better. SKC, I
Hmm.
think, man, I feel like their XG should have been better than ours. I think their scoring opportunities were better than ours. But I was watching the highlights because we were busy with the dash during the live game, so could not watch the Dynamo live. I had to go back and just kind of watch bits. But man, what were you doing? Defense was better. Defense was better. So we're expecting Carlos, Spiacinco, Dorsey. Hindsight, we'll come on to the show later. Uh, Talk about on the show later, and then Andrade on the left. So that's our defensive. That's the back four. So they did a good job. Dude,
Hmm.
Arthur's back. Reigns did a good job. McGlynn is what's missing right there. Home started. Linger, what are we doing right there? Anali is Anali. We don't have to. We don't even. Well, I mean, we could talk about him all day, but Ponce is Ponce. We're not improving the offense right now. So, man, that's our starting lineup going into the next season too, as
As
we
of
go
right
into
now.
it. As
pretty
of right
much.
now, but that's what we have to grow off of, man. But that game sucked, bro. That was such BS. Hopefully, we could have got a win, or at least like scored,
Yeah.
but nothing, dude. It was BS. The highlight of the night was watching Memo Rodriguez on the bench.
Hmm.
Yeah, they keep focusing on the in the broadcast, and I was like, it's good to see him that he's having a career still in MLS, but yeah, I hope he's doing okay.
But you know what? A positive was seeing Brooklyn come back because he did well with
Definitely.
the U.S. team. He showed he does a lot, he can do a lot more than what Ben has him doing right now. He was playing box to box. He was scoring. He was doing assists, playing defense when he had to. It was nice to see him out there to come back, and maybe Ben will let him run a little bit more next season.
Definitely. Brooklyn Reigns, of course, returning with from the Under 20 World Cup with the United States. Um, Also, shout out to Lawrence Anali for being one of the finalists for a comeback player of the year in
Yeah,
MLS. Like, if I'm going to say it again, if we have a team MVP, first of all, we should not have team awards at all whatsoever this year. But I mean, Lawrence Anali deserves it
when
because
you
if
saw when he came back, it was a different team. Yeah, they want to play that possession based type system, but he stretches that defense so you have Ponce making the run, or if he can hold the ball up, you have Linger running off of him. And then I don't like it, but you have Dorsey going past, Holmes or McGlynn out there, basically being another winger. It stretches that team out. It makes them tired, which gives Ponce the chance to score. He didn't, but with time it should improve.
Look, Adrian, when the defense was good the past couple of years, where we were setting the records with the points and Ben was
Sure.
doing well, the defense was solid and dependent and didn't give up shit. So the strategy worked, the tactics worked, the formation worked for Ben. Right now, you're getting pushed and you're pressured
Yeah.
so friggin' much that his strategy doesn't work and he doesn't have an answer for it. And he just sucks it up, Buttercup, and just tells people in the press conference, what are you asking? Move on. Next
I'll,
question.
I'll figure it
Pretty
out
much.
later.
Yeah,
We're
yeah. I
working on
figured
it.
out. We're still trying to figure it out. Game 33 after post match. We're still trying to figure it out. You fucking
And
retard.
all those injuries didn't help Bond. Having a different line every game, sometimes two different lines during one game, doesn't help you out there. You know, you learn the more you play with people, you learn their little, ticks, and it's hard when someone else comes in or he was bringing Femi in as a right back or a left back randomly. It doesn't help them out. It makes it harder for that keeper to do his job.
Adrian, you're right. And just a big quick shout out, Andreas. Designated podcast players podcast brought us on to talk because we were one of the eliminated teams. So you get to talk about us as the season ends. And what went wrong is what the name of the episode was. And we got to answer, we got to talk, and it was about 22 minutes long. And me and Andres both got to give our opinions real quick. And defensive injuries was one of the main topics that we talked about. And we kind of led with it first because it basically started with Mikhail in the late sale. So, y'all, if you have a chance to go listen to it, Designated Players Podcast, maybe Andreas can throw it in the description down below. But y'all
Yep.
seen it being retweeted and posted. So go check it out and just see if y'all agree with us or not. But it'd be cool because those are friends of ours and they did preseason, now off season, and we'll plan on doing more with them. And we're throwing those H's every time we do it.
Definitely, and we love talking to them because they cover every single team. They bring in guests from all these places, which is amazing. And like what you said, we talked about the issues with this year, particularly the injuries that we had to try and cover the gaps for, which didn't work for us. And it was a good discussion. I'll try to for YouTube. I'll try to put like a video link like above your screen right now, and also in the description below. So so anybody that's listening on audio. So it's a good one. It's a good recording, but yeah, I'm so ready to get out of this game because we do have a ton of things to talk about, particularly the roster. But
Let's get out of here.
yes, yes, let's get out of here. Goodbye, 2025. Hello, 2026. We are entering the off season with 19 players on their contract, which means that we did decline 10 players out of the list of all the players that we provided in the last episode, since we went in depth with every single player that is going to be out of contract or the option is due. So if you guys are more so interested with like the full on depth discussion when it comes to every single player, you can go to the last episode. In this episode, we're going to go through the list of the roster decisions that were made to start the offseason. Because if that's the case, we're going to go ahead and analyze all the players again. It might be 2 hours. We're not going to try to be like over an hour again. But yeah, we do have. We're going to start with the players that got their options picked up. And this occasion, we do have 5 players. And those we do have Artur, Griffin Dorsey, Blake Gillingham, Nelson Quinones, and Brooklyn Reigns. And in the last episode, I did kind of say that Brooklyn Reigns more so deserves to have his option picked up, and I hope that at some point they do have a contract extension for him. But I'm gonna start with Adrian right now, because I did talk with OSG for over like I think it was like 50 minutes about the roster. Adrian, what are your thoughts of the players that got their options exercised for 2026?
The Blake Gillingham one was interesting to me because if he's going to be the third keeper, that means Pedro Cruz is either staying at Dos another season, or hopefully he could get loaned out somewhere where he plays day in, day out with first team, Mexico, Brazil, somewhere. So that was interesting because Gillingham came in when we needed him. out of nowhere. He didn't expect to play a second of the season, and to come out of nowhere and do what he did, it was great. But now it's kind of like, now we have 4 keepers. What do we do?
Do
Because
we have 4?
yeah, because it's we have Bond, Jimmy, Blake Gillingham, and then Pedro Cruz on Dose.
Oh yeah,
Right.
More. Well, we're not counting more. So Blake will be second to me. Just real quick before you finish on the other players, but
Now you're
Blake
good.
will be second to me, and I think he's just saying like I'm good with being here. There's no other option for me. I'm good with being a backup. We saw last season where 4 keepers played during the season, so there's an opportunity for me if Bond goes down for a minute. I'm young. Give me an opportunity to showcase and learn. Cruz stays at Dose and gets every friggin' minute over there,
Mm-hmm.
or they switch places. Is what could happen too. But I think he stays with Dynamo, and he sits on the bench until he's called. And I think that's where he's comfortable with being right now. And he recognizes where he's at in his career right now. And you
And
don't pass up staying on a first team of an MLS team when your other option is probably a USL.
you know what? He's positive. He could
Yeah.
be sitting there pouting the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know how he is at home, but he's positive. I saw him. He was at a Dose game randomly one time with Booker and
Yeah.
Lennox. And if you just talk to him, he'll talk to you as long as you want to talk. You know, and he's a positive guy. He's happy to. I think they even said his mom came to every game he played.
And a dude that knows that Pedro Cruz is getting a lot of praise and a lot of hype and is right there, right on the cusp, and is like, why wouldn't this guy just pass me up in a heartbeat? And in the front office, they're not going to tell you. But so
Oh,
the dude is just he's being humble. He's learning, and
mm-hmm.
he took it. He wants to stay here, and that's a superstar right there, man. So I hope it works out for him. I hope he gets some minutes. He's going to be the Open Cup keeper, possibly, since he's going to be the backup now too as well. So he's going to get his time. We're going to see him, and we'll be back on Gillingham's Island again.
And you know what,
Yeah,
Pedro?
and no, you can go, Adrian.
I was gonna say Pedro Cruz is 21. He's a baby for a goalkeeper. You know, some of those guys play a little bit
So
older
was
than.
Xavier Valdez. Woo, shit. So yeah, it would be nice, man. So Pedro Cruz, don't let him sit.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm worried. He's gonna sit there and because he wants to play. You know, I'd like to see him out there more. Yeah, Blake's gonna get those cut minutes on the side, but it wouldn't hurt for because you remember they let
Yeah.
Pedro Cruz play one game, and it was against a good team, and he did well.
And it was a good opportunity for sure because we've definitely seen Pedro Cruz with those so many times this year, and it's been absolutely incredible considering the circumstances around the season for those and some of the games, and of course, goalie wars champion. Goalie wars champion. Not a lot of keepers can say that.
Goalie Wars champion, MLS. What is it? Next Pro top 11, whatever, and then top goalkeeper nominee as well.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of accolades for Pedro Cruz. This year is his first year. We brought him in this year from I don't even remember where, but still, shout out G Money, team player for Blake Gillingham over there in the chat, and then Bruce Lee throwing some jabs at Adrian over there, yelling at him with the all caps. So shout out Adrian for Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, bro?
I know what Jackie Chan. That's about it.
No, yeah, I do have 2 players on my notes that I was more so interested with bringing back because, of course, like Adrian said, we now have 4 keepers on the roster, so I'm sure we're not gonna look for another keeper in the offseason.
No.
And did Blake deserve it? And if there's a plan for him, it looks like there is. So I'm guessing he's more than okay with just being the backup for now. And of course, Pedro Cruz waiting on the wings to see what happens. So it's more so gonna be dependent on what the Jimmy Marr situation is, if he's gonna stick around for another season or not. So looks like
he's
that's
a
gonna be the
coach,
case.
man. He's a coach. He's a coach.
Right.
And then one of those 5 that is a highlight is Brooklyn Reigns got his option, and we were talking about decline his option, and give him a fucking contract, give him a real contract. Well, just accepting his option, and you probably told him, it's like, hey, we're going to give you a new contract. Give us a minute.
Yeah,
Let's figure out everything. Let's, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to get you a new contract. So his extension is coming. That's going to be a 99.9% guarantee. I leave that little door open right there if you can see it.
Because
100%.
you don't know what
Yeah.
they told him. He goes, hey, just take this for now, see what we do in the off season, who we bring in, and then we'll get you your money next time.
And he's getting his
Probably.
he's getting his money. He's
But
getting his
no,
money because he's going to be sold. He's going to
yeah.
be sold. He's getting his money. So there's no doubt about it, man. And it's the only smart move to make. Nobody's taking his spot. You might bring somebody in, but nobody's taking his spot. You're going to continue to play the kid. If you don't, his value goes down, and Europe is out the door. Brooklyn Reigns is good and worthy of that position next to Arthur, and does not need to be taken from him. You better bring in somebody good that everybody's okay with taking from Reigns.
Because what was the last talk? I think it was somebody in France was looking at him.
League Two or whatever it was. So,
but sometimes you got to make that little quick jump, and then you play there half a season. Next thing you know, you're in League One. You're playing against some of the bigger teams in Europe.
yeah, but it's something he has to want. Sorry, Andre. It's something he has to want, and something the Dynamo have to be worthy of that payout, because he's got a lot of upside, right, Andreas? I know you've seen a lot of upside and upcharge where that arrow is going up.
Definitely, and I feel like the Dynamo could get a payday, but it's really important that they get Brugge's contract right away, and I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of money. I think they had to pick up his option as procedure, so he's locked down for at least next year. But we know for a fact that he's gonna get a new contract 100%. Like, there's no way Dynamo let this opportunity slide.
Yeah, you
And
don't let his contract run out.
Right. And the other player that I highlighted, of course, is Nelson Quinones getting his option picked up. In the last episode, we thought that he was going to get his option declined, so he can just be with those for the rest of the season and to just go ahead and recover. And it appears that there's like a reasoning behind that based on what Asher said after the options were listed, because somebody else asked about, Jake from Dynamo Faithful did ask about picking up Quinones, if it's going to be an issue with the salary cap and all that. And Asher did say that Nelson's transfer fee no longer hits our cap for 2026, so it can be moved to a on 22 spot, and the salary and his agent fee is going to hit the cap. So it's going to be significantly less, which is great. But yeah, I feel like it's more so about the roster spot that's going to be taking over if he's not loaned, or if he's just moved on to those altogether. So that remains to be seen, because, of course, I don't expect him to be a big piece for Dynamo next year until probably later on, depending on his recovery. So that's what I thought about Nelson Quinones, honestly.
He's ready. He's going to be ready by the preseason. Going to have plenty of time. He's going to be ready by the start of the season. He's going to be on the first team. They gave him his option, so they believe he's ready to come back. So the career-ending injury, granted, we still have a whole winter to go through, he's out the door pretty much. So we'll see him come back. You don't give him his option if he's not healthy enough to give him that option, because we thought we were going to get a decline and he was going to be offered a dose contract, kind of like Achara did, where he hurt himself twice in a row. This was a bad injury, but we've seen him twice. You see him at practice. He's been running. He's been warming up. So you get to see him. He's MD Anderson. Shout out. Hopefully they're involved a lot, but what you're getting. So I feel good about it. I believe in it, and you don't, man. You don't. Hopefully, you're not just wasting it and taking a chance on it because he's cheap or whatever. He's not a U22 no more, which is a benefit. So he's still cheap enough to where he just takes a roster spot, but he's not a U22, which means we can go get another U22 if we want. We still got the option for the DP as well. So, man, I'm excited for Nelson Quinones, and I hope he's ready to go, bro. Not hope. He's ready to go day one, and he's going to be an integral part of the team, and he's going to be a threat. and he'll be a super sub, he'll be a start, him and Anali taking turns, and then however else they decide to use each other of them and use him. So I'm ready, bro. I'm ready.
Yeah, like it's gonna be an interesting road to recovery, but if the Dynamo are fully invested in Nelson Quinones, I'm definitely happy to see him back on the field because I felt like I'm not sure if they're gonna probably be getting another winger to try and expand like Houston's chances of being more threatening offensively speaking. But at least that's what I thought. But it
But
looks like yeah.
I say don't forget Thomas Weisner, that
That's
Czech guy
right.
we signed. They put him on dose so he could recover.
I keep forgetting about that. I keep forgetting about that because that was like so
It
out
was
of
a random
nowhere.
thing. Yeah, it was
It
a
was like
random
it
signing.
was
Like, why are we getting this guy?
this
Unless
guy
they felt
is,
like he's going to come back quickly.
and I thought about it too because it was kind of like this is the perfect Dynamo signing. Injured, free agent. What more could you ask for? But I keep forgetting about that. So that's interesting to think about now because maybe like he's like for Thomas, it's gonna be for those still because of the recovery. I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, like it's interesting to think about. So those are two of the three
And
players of the five. Yeah,
isn't he right back too as well?
He can play it, yeah.
he can.
He,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he can play back.
he's more of a right midfielder, right winger, but he can, if he has to cover, kind of like Dwayne Holmes can play right back if he has to. He can do both.
Right. If McGlynn needs a break or gone on national duty, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Or if you want to play that 3-back system and have him as the that right winger instead of having Dorsey out there, that's that option. Kind of
Ben
how
James making what?
kind of how the U.S. team are doing right now with that that 3 center backs.
Right. Ben changed
Yeah,
formation. What? Not.
yeah.
Not unless he has to.
Yeah, G Money did ask that question, and honestly that remains to be seen because like still has to recover from injury and settle down, but on the right somewhere else maybe that's what we think is gonna play on the right.
Yeah, he's
Quote
right-footed
unquote.
and basically a right winger. Like he doesn't do the let's put him on the left side so he crosses with that. How they're using Jack on the right side using his left foot,
Yeah,
or Anali on the left using his right foot. But don't forget
Maybe
we also
Ben is evolving and has something new for us next season as far as his style.
maybe that's why we got rid of that analytics guy, the head analytics guy. That flies the drone all day long.
Kalen Carpenter.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. Was I not supposed to say your name?
Carlin Carlin
Garland,
Carpenter.
sorry.
Yeah. Shout out to him and thank you for the good times here in Houston. Of course, the trophy, a lot of the analytics that go behind the scenes kind of go noticed, but we do appreciate his efforts and good luck with whatever's next. But yeah, those were the players that got their options picked out. 10 players are not going to be back for next year because their options got declined for 2026. And those are going to be Steven Anor, OSG's own Obafemi Awadesu, Ethan Bartlow, Eric Dueñas, Michael Halliday, Sebastian Kowalczyk, Damian Lowe,
Who?
Sergio Santos, Daniel Steres, and Junior Urso. They're not coming back, guys. And we did have the discussion in the last episode. I felt like only a few players had a chance to come back, but it appears the Dynamo are just ready to move on in a different direction for next year. But I'm gonna start with OSG. What are your thoughts? And are you gonna miss any of these players going out?
There was two of them. Like I wouldn't mind Urso being back because I knew he'd be a good player off the bench, a really good player that had a lot of energy. Sergio Santos had a lot of energy coming off the bench, so I would love them both to be back off the bench. But man, it seems like it's a pat trend right now with how many players we get rid of in the off season and how many players we need to bring in.
Mm-hmm.
Also, man, yeah, I'm gonna eject players through the floor, bro. Asher talked about, man, we have to focus on getting players in early and now and not later. So now and later is everybody knows what the candy is. It's a hard fucking candy and takes forever to eat. So I don't like how he said now and later because that just means it's just going to be the way. We're going to try now, but it'll be later. So the focus is they have to get everything done here in this winter. Not everything, not everything. 85% of everything done in this winter. Have this team prepared and ready for the preseason and built for this season and ready to go, and not have to fucking bullshit and check into the summer. Like, all right, the summer, which this time brought us nothing after so much promise. So, man, uh, uh, we're going to be focused and keeping an eye out on what Asher and Pat are going to do this offseason. Big time.
Yeah, and I just remember that in the last off season, it was a very, very, very slow off season
Mhm.
because the moves just started to come in like really over the last few weeks before the season started, and the winter was pretty much all these players leaving and not filling out the gaps. And at that point, we were like, okay, they're probably going to be taking a stab with the players because of issues with the salary cap and all that. But it kind of feels like it's going to be that type of offseason that early on they're going to start filling out the gaps, which, by the way, is going to be great. But these are 10 players that are leaving. Of course, most of them are. I feel like those were moves that had to happen, but we're also missing out of experience here. But Adrian,
Andreas,
yeah,
real quick. Colby, I don't follow him on YouTube. He pops up with my fucking FYU page on TikTok. Femi does. So I don't have control of it, bro. I leave my location on as well. So he pops up on my. Yeah, I can't control the algorithm, man. Colby, no, you're starting rumors. But
yeah,
you're right.
no,
All right, sorry, bro. I
and
didn't need to interrupt. It was that all the chatting that's going on. That the comment was
yeah, it's
getting a little bit
popping.
far away.
Yeah, it's popping right now. I mean, we we got a lot of opinions right now, especially with how season turned out and the players had to go and the moves that had to happen in order to improve for next year. But it's just, I mean, people are
TikTok,
upset
TikTok.
and rightfully so. So, but I was gonna ask Adrian because of course we're missing out of a lot of experience heading into next year, but at the same time, this kind of has to happen in order to improve the team and fill out the gaps that were really uh, like missed to start the season last year. But really, what are your thoughts about the players that are getting their options declined for this offseason?
I just want to go back to what OSG just said real quick. If you remember, Asher couldn't go to the second to last home game because he was already going out trying to find players. So he's working. And then Pat couldn't go out because they were doing that little press conference thing where they bring people in and let them talk. But Asher's like, I'm going to be out of the country for a little bit. So he couldn't come in. But I was a little sad to see Junior go because when you remember that one game he started towards the end of the season, Ben let him play how he plays, his style. He was the player of that match that game. He even said in the press conference at the end, he goes, he let me play how I play. So you can tell he was just like telling him, hey, just stay back, hold. That wasn't his style. He was an attacking midfielder, basically. Kind of, kind of how Iniesta was back in the day when he got a little older. They brought him into the back, but he still controlled everything from back there. I was sad about Santos leaving. You could tell he played with his heart everywhere.
Yep.
He if you did just minutes played, he did better than Ponce did. He played defense. He was bodying up people even when they were losing. He bodied people up with no shame. He was putting himself in there to win. And the last one, I was a little weird about Lowe. He's a Jamaican international. Goes out there. They call him out every time. And you can tell in Nashville he was upset because he didn't even make it to the field. He was in the stands. I was there yelling his name. He waved back, but you can tell he was on his phone. He's probably just messaging, his agent or somebody. You could tell he was pissed off sitting there. Like it's one of those things. Like I don't think he didn't want to sit by anybody. Like people kept coming in, he kept moving back and away from people. Like he just wanted to be alone. That was to me that was a weird signing.
We didn't understand that when we talked about it. We don't know why Damian Lillard didn't get 1 second, and now we declined his options. He had 2 years options, He had two
Yeah.
options. So we declined them both basically. So that's crazy, man. That's crazy. So Junior wasn't happy and Ben didn't use him. So I don't blame Damian Lowe, bro. That's fucking good riddance and thank you, Damian. And we wish you luck, bro. I hope you find it. And I know you needed something too because of what you because I don't remember if he was playing much or doing much, and he needed a resurgence. And he came here for that and didn't get that opportunity. And we were asking for him and called for him sometimes too because everybody wants Ortiz on the bench. Now we want him cut, and then he gets
Yeah.
signed. Arr.
Because where did Lowe come from? Wasn't it like Saudi Arabia or something like that?
Something. He was a free agent.
He
But
was, yeah,
he last played in the Middle East, but like it's.
yes,
But even then,
yeah,
like you're on a horrible team and you're barely playing. It kind of tells you something about him. But he's still a
Right.
Jamaican. He's still a Jamaican international. Even scored on when he went out to in one game. Like he's still playing right now. So it was kind of weird to me. But MLS
yeah,
rules, can be crazy too.
yeah, and he scored with the national team while he was here with us.
It was
I feel
ugly,
like
but he scored.
I mean, he scored. He still plays for a national team.
Yeah,
He's facing CONCACAF opponents,
yeah.
and it's significant. Like you brought him over as a free agent, of course, as a free agent, which could just be hit or miss. But at the same time, if you bring it over for a reason and he never gets to play, it's very upsetting, especially if he gets opposite decline. At that point, you're like, why do you bring him over?
Why spend the money on him?
Right.
You're paying that contract or something.
Honestly, like it feels very odd. And the one that kind of just, the two that I feel like could have probably helped us for next year were definitely Junior Urso and Sergio Santos potentially returning. And it looks like they're ready to move on to the next chapter for that. Of course, Urso seeing a lot of significant minutes in the season and providing coverage for Artur. And Sergio Santos, the game against San Diego, just bowling out off the bench. I feel like he could have been a good presence coming off the bench, but could be an
So
issue.
look, it's a
Probably,
sign that Asher and Pat said they're going to go out and they're going to do something, and that's a sign that they're going to do it because you're replacing those people who were confident with and believe in, but you do need to improve. So you need to bring in some starters and put some of them starters that are currently starting on the bench, and let's make a run. So that maybe that's what the sign is, right, Andres?
more likely. Like if it was declined, I feel like it had more so to do with the salary more than anything because it could have. It's gonna be used. It has to be used in the off season. Like there's no way around it. It has to be.
And then real quick with Olasanya, he's coming back, right? He still has 2 more years with us. So what'll be weird is if we loan him out again whenever he starts the next season. So I'm hoping he's going to be a part of the team next season because he can be somebody that helps Ponce out and pushes Ponce and gives Ponce a rest. You know, Exxon Arzu, sitting on Dose, ready to come up to behind Quinones. Got a lot of sparks. So there's opportunities there, but just what can we do with them? And do you believe in Ben being able to get the spark out of some of these players?
Definitely. And like I said, a lot of players leaving the team, but of course he can present himself as an opportunity because of the salary that's gonna be available and going into this off season. So it could be something good, or it could be something bad if the players that were letting go. It could have potentially made a difference here in 2026. But we do move on, uh, and we also move on to the players that are in discussions
Oh my
to stay
God.
with the team. And I feel like this is going to be the heated part of the episode because there's
Go
a lot to
ahead,
talk about.
Adrian. Adrian,
There's a lot
take
to
it.
talk about, and hold on. Yeah, I know we're all eager, but the Dynamo are currently negotiating with the following two players about their return to the team for 2026. Those two players are Pablo Ortiz and Amin Bassi. I'm gonna start with Adrian because I do have a lot of things to say, but I want to start with Adrian to hear what he thinks.
To watch Ortiz play, if you understand Spanish and you're close enough to the field, he cusses everybody out in Spanish, other than Eric, because he worked with Eric in the past. He's cussing everybody out. Like he's mad at everybody for his faults, their faults, for everything. Like he's cussing Bond out in Spanish, and I don't think he understands Bond's bomb is from Spain. He understands. I'm pretty sure he knows some of the cuss words, and they just look at each other, and it's. I had hopes for him, but the other one I don't want to even say his name. That croissant eating something or another. Uh, I kind of just want to ask him where the best croissants are, so I can find them one day and just or whatever club he likes to go to at night and get because
Jeff Strong, Jeff Strong says it kind of makes sense if we can get him cheap. Does it make sense no matter what the contract is? Does it make sense if we can get him cheap? Do we want him on the roster? Did he do enough to warrant keeping him?
if you're talking about Bossy, I feel no. But it's one of those things you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Maybe people are calling saying, "Hey, we want him," or "How much do you want him for?" They're just trying to sign him so they can get some money out of him for the money they spent already on him. But
I remember that Bossy signed an extension early in the year.
just remember they took him to a croissant shop, and that's how they celebrated it. I was like, that was the dumbest thing they could have done. I'm like, really? Of all things.
So we're doing that at Surge Tailgate, right? Next year, Adrian?
If they sell them all, what was that new croissant they have at HEB with the sugar on top? I'll buy that for everybody. I'll buy $200 worth of that stuff. Write it down. You can quote me on that one. I'll even mail some to Jared in Colorado.
Yes, please. But I wanted to bring that up because, of course, he did sign an extension early in the year, and he does have options extending through 2027. So I do have to wonder. I do have to wonder if he was gonna get declined, but they're working on a new deal. Because the only way I see this happening is if he takes a pay cut, no matter what.
A big one.
A big pay cut, because they kind of made it sound like they're working on it. So
yeah,
I guess that's good, because if it stays on the current deal, of course, it could be bad. And I don't feel like, based on what we saw last year, like whatever he was making, he's probably not making it. And I forgot the figure he was making on the MLS Player Association sheet. I forgot about that, but he's probably making too much. I don't think
anything's
right.
too much.
We want to go
Anything
cheaper.
is too much.
Who was it, Andreas? It was somebody that was the same thing that happened last year, where we were negotiating, but we didn't end up keeping because we just couldn't negotiate. Latif Blessing was too high, and wanted to negotiate. Never got a friggin' deal until like a month and a half ago. He finally got to start playing for somebody, but bullshitted when he could have been playing for us if he just would have took nickel and dimes and just took the minimum and just would have been coming off the bench and playing for Ben, because Ben still used him. But that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, and the worst part being Latif Blessing could have been a good big player for us this year.
Yeah,
after everything that happened, and I mean, just going back to Pablo Ortiz, man, I have no idea what's going on here. Like, he has, like, if they're negotiating something, it has to be because they have to work on the deal that they had initially with his parent club, because he's technically on loan here for I think until halfway through next year, if I'm not mistaken, and they had to work on something. If it's salary related, I'm more so happy if they manage to get him a pay cut. But I was on the impression that he wasn't going to return for next year, because he's taking up an international spot. Like, he is like very inconsistent. He can have some good games, but in the games that we saw him play, like, for the most part, he's been screwing up over and over again. And look, it could be the same situation with Mikhail. Like, he started bad, but he could improve. But at the same time, I'm not confident. I'm not confident. So if we can get him on a pay cut, great. But I'm not fully invested yet.
Talking about Ortiz, Colby just made a good comment.
Yes, and they should be negotiated to pay us for us for him to pay us for a spot on the team. I think that's the negotiation right there.
Look, I don't. Nope. Everybody is surprised that Ortiz is given the opportunity. And yes, shout out Jeff Strong. Blessing is on the same team that Sargent was on at Lexington in the USL. Lexington did all
Yeah.
right, and Sargent got a lot of time. He'll return, and we'll see if he's gonna uh, continue on with Dose. And he's a left-footed left back, so he could be somebody that backs up Andrade and maybe someone that just takes up a bench spot, and we only use him in situations when he's a bit, when we can afford to use him. But he's somebody who's can come in and give a lot of energy, and he gives a lot of good crosses in too. So he's somebody who got I hope a lot of experience over at Lexington this season. And talking about Sargent, yeah, he was started 27 games, I think it was, not 27. He played in 27 games and started 19, I think it was, or 20, 21. So yeah, dude, he had a good season, and it looked like he had a good season. 5 assists as well. 5 assists as well.
That's pretty
For
good.
don't forget to mention that shit. So yeah, so man. No. So Sargent did a good job. So we'll see what we do with him. That'll be something curious, but maybe look for him to take up a roster spot and be behind Andrade.
Yeah, and I
Fuck
feel like
Ortiz.
that's possible. And yeah, of course, like we just mentioned, Sargent is under loan and still under contract, so he's still a technical Dynamo player. But honestly, like the way things are going, like he deserves to see more playing time with Lexington. And whatever happens in the preseason, man, things can change for sure. But I feel like he's
Oh,
very
that's
good.
right. They didn't make a decision about him yet because he hasn't returned yet. So we
Yeah.
don't know if he's going to be on the team next season or not. And probably not, granted, on the numbers that we had this offseason. And offseason is only 3 days old, 4
Yeah.
days.
And Colby did ask about Franco Escobar, and that's the other segment I wanted to go to because we do have players that are going to have their contracts expire. And one of those players being Franco Escobar. And the other two players are Gabe Seagull and Adu Tarbil. And the last episode, we did discuss it because we felt like these were players that they were going to be let go and let their contract run out. Particularly, of course, Tarbil being injured is not going to be ideal. So I wish him well with his recovery and whatever he does next. And Gabe Seagal, we did talk about it. I feel like I don't think it's worth renewing a new contract or anything like that. And Franco Escobar, the mysterious illness that happened for the last 2 months was levositis. I wasn't okay with that initially because early in the season you could tell like he was very engaged with the team. I feel like he was the second captain just because of how vocal he was, how he held everybody accountable for just making their mistakes, and honestly,
Especially when Eric was out. Especially
Yes.
when Eric was out. He was
Yeah.
there because we all know Artur is not the most vocal person out there.
yeah, and it sucked because I felt like it could have been useful, but it looks like he's ready to move on.
Yes.
And,
Maybe he hurt his thumbs, playing, video games all day long.
yeah,
Okay.
streaming, yeah.
Hey, look, dude,
Well,
it's kind of stupid because we asked for Escobar to play center back at some point. And Ben could have used him as center back, and you see Escobar play that center back role late in games when we're trying to push and score another goal, and we're playing that 3-back, and Dorsey's holding up high or whatever. You see Escobar playing centrally, so you know he can do it. So why Ben wouldn't do it whenever we were in need of a center back to save the season? He didn't do it. He bullshitted, and Ben, hopefully somebody stepped on that brown bag in front of his house and stood there and watched when he opened the door and smiled at him and made sure there was eye contact right there. And I hope he smelled it all. But dude, Escobar could have done so much, and we were hoping that he would return, even if he was only used as an outside back. Andrade, Dorsey, and Escobar rotating, those three rotating. I'll take any two of them every single game, whichever two you tell me he's playing. I'm down. Let's go. And then the other one's on the bench and comes off. Great substitution, like for like, whatever. I'll take it because I count on all three of them friggin' day of the week. And then, as you said, Andreas, Escobar brings the friggin' passion to the game. Maybe not in the role of a captain, but he brings that passion, and he's yelling at the referee, and he's out there. I'm sure Adrian can hear him too, cursing as much as friggin' Ortiz.
But at the other team.
You were correct,
Right.
yes, and everybody that is not on your side.
But he was that old school, defender you had. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you tackle on my striker, and you hurt his ankle for a second. I'm gonna hurt you too. He would come in and he would be a little bit of a regulator and come in and help out the team. You needed somebody to scare that other team sometimes a little bit.
How many cards did he collect this year, Jeff Strong? He didn't collect as many, and it is a
One,
problem. But oh shit, there's one that
two,
just popped up right there
three,
automatically.
4.
Hey,
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go.
but good point. But I'll take that. I'll take that part of it.
It's like you want that pit bull in your team. You need somebody to have
Right.
that fight for you. Like I said, especially with our tour being so quiet, you want someone to basically be that captain without being the captain.
Maybe just be like a type of player that they could bring in the offseason.
Because you never know. You got to remember, Dorsey was a winger. They moved him to defense because he couldn't cross the ball. You never know. You always move him back up top there.
Mm-hmm.
Then that means we need 2 more center backs if we don't sign Ortiz, or we do sign Ortiz, because you never know. Another left back, maybe another 2 right backs. We do have Nico Ramos, 20-year-old at Dose.
Yep.
He needs to gain about 15 pounds of muscle, but he's already playing, in South America in the adult leagues. And then we have Wolf. He's 17, but that's a thick boy right there. He can muscle up with grown men right now at 17, like 25-year-olds. He can handle them. It's just he needs to play. That's the problem. He needs more time. But he has a 17-year-old playing with Dose and starting. You can't complain about that.
Definitely. And as long as he's playing, getting that time to develop, that's all I ask. And we do have a ton of players, like we said earlier, a ton of players on those that have a high ceiling, some good potential, and as long as they keep playing, they're able to fulfill that and develop over time. It's going to be great. But yeah, man, those are like all the players that left the team. Yeah, that's a long list. So we do have a reset. We do have that reset coming in. Asher did make a few comments, like I said earlier, a few comments after the list was officially published. And he did mention that reality is that we fell short of expectations this year, and we need to do better in 2026. Of course, a lot of tough conversations leading up to that moment, and of course, appreciating everybody's contributions to the Open Cup win in 2023 and setting the club record for points earned in 2024. And he also mentions that we are already working hard to build a stronger team for 2026. We enter the offseason with 3rd highest cap space in MLS, up to 2 open DP spots and up to 2 open on 22 spots. And we will be aggressive this winter to start strong next February. And it's definitely worth some encouragement as a Dynamo fan just to hear that, because there's a ton of potential to make a lot of moves, especially if they're able to fill out the 2 open DP spots, which is great. But we kind of been burned in the last offseason, so we have to see a lot of moves, not 2 weeks before the season starts or 3 weeks before the season starts. It has to happen now. And of course, injured free agents do not count whatsoever. But I'll go with Adrian first. With all that we know now, with all the resources that we have, what do you expect of this offseason?
I'm going to keep my hopes low, because we have a lot of gaps to fill. It depends where they're looking, because, someone threw out there, like, somewhere else, I think it was on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, James Rodriguez. Yeah, he's a free agent, but what's he going to do for the team? Yeah, he's going to sell a lot of jerseys, but that's probably about all he's going to do. And then they say Weston at Juventus doesn't mind coming back to America. He played for Dallas. I'm sure he misses Texas. I wouldn't mind getting him either. But it's that those fees. But people forget, like we also went after what was his name, Alan Saldivia out of Colo Colo, 23-year-old center back. He starts for that team as a center back, 23 years old, going to turn 24 next year, I think in September. So he's young. That's a good backup for Eric. He's not getting younger. Antonio Carlos not getting younger, and they're both slow as can be. So we need a little bit more speed in that back line. There's a lot of people we looked at. It's one. It's a crazy name to say, but Conrad De La Fuentes. Y'all remember him from Barcelona?
Yeah.
He plays in the second division now in Spain. Barely plays. He's still 24. American international, so he's not going to take up an international spot. He needs to play somewhere and get better so he can make money somewhere else. Why not use us for that? He's on loan right now. If they end that loan, it comes with us. Wouldn't be the greatest signing, but it's kind of an Asher signing too. At the same time, you're like who? Exactly, he's a dynamo player. He's a perfect fit.
Perfect.
Adrian G Money said it right. Major moves is what we need this offseason. And the reputation that Pat and Asher have right now is we don't do major moves. Our scouting network is looked for the mediocre player with a lot of potential, or a player that had a highlight but has been moving down, needs to trend back up, and we're going to give them that opportunity. But we're not sure if our coach will play you. But come on over, by the way. That's what we're going to do with you right now. So we're expecting a lot of different type moves, a lot of moves that make sense, and there have to be starter type.
Oh no, they need to be better than the person that's Do we need a better striker? Yes. Ponce was a waste of money. He has his moments.
Jeff, sorry,
No,
Ponce could be a lot of money. And Jeff says thinking of with your scouting is like, I think it's the intangibles you're using, but the scouting network that you're choosing. It's not the scouting network itself. It's what boxes you're checking to say, hey, these are the players I'm looking for, and then Ponce pops up. If you check a couple other boxes, probably Ponce falls a little bit down below, under, and doesn't fit what we're doing right here, because man, who wants a defensive striker anyways? Come on, Ben, bro, stupid.
Or like Tiosi. That guy's he's a runner. He's not a hold up the ball. It was a waste of time signing him. And then I asked Asher about him when he went to that first tailgate that he went to with us for the Surge. If y'all don't know what the Surge is, you can find that out. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But
soon.
Apparently he had issues being in America. Like he just wasn't adapting well. So let's send him back to England to make him happy.
But we still have 2 years with him.
Yeah, but why waste that money on him? Let him.
So that's when we'll see. What are we going to do with him into the off season? So, but yeah, man. So we're very, very curious. Bruce Lee says we should find a Japanese player. I guess the hint is the flag. So I'm only assuming, is there a good Japanese player that we need to get out there? Sun, LAFC, or is that Korean? Whichever. So, man, there are some good players out there. There's some good players all over the place. So you just got to expand your scouting network. But we're going to have to digress a little bit because we're already, an hour and 3 minutes into this episode, Andreas. So we hand the mic back over to you, sir.
Well, let me get something in.
Yeah.
What makes me wonder, like I said with Teosi, how much does Ben say what he wants, and how much do they listen to Ben? Because Ben could say, I don't want him. They're like, well, he's cheap. Take something or take nothing. And he's like, okay, whatever. It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder how well they're all three of them are working together. But
you got to be like, bro, you have an opportunity to sign this guy, Ben. What do you think? Yeah, I think I could. Let's check him out. I think I could work with this guy. And he comes in and he hates him at practice, and now I'm not going to use him no more. There's no way. There's no way that Pat and Asher don't involve Ben in those signings before they go and sign the dude on a contract, or waste the money to fly and watch the dude in person at a game without involving the fucking head coach that you're going to bring a player into. Because Every coach has their players. So
Mm-hmm.
sorry, that's the fifth F bomb tonight, if I'm counting correctly. But dude, you have to involve the head coach when you're as a GM and Asher Mendelson in his position too. You have to, bro. You have to. If you're not, you're stupid.
I'm saying you
And
have to, but do they?
yeah, they have to, bro. And I say they have to like this, like
He
I'm
spent more time in
confident.
Mexico than he did on the field.
I'm confident they do. I just, man, it's been stubborn and struggling. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Andres,
Stubbornness, I know. I know.
yeah,
I mean, we can go over 3 hours with all the emotions that we have, especially how the season turned out and the missed opportunities from the players that we're letting go and the players
That's
that
just
are
about Bossy.
and the players are still with a team that could do better. To put it lightly, to make it sound nice, but well, yeah, man, it's gonna be an off season of. It better be an off season with insane moves, and we do have the dates listed for the off season calendar, which we're gonna keep an eye on and just go through it very quickly. Of course, the first one being the deadline to submit to for clubs to exercise options and submit their offers for players, and we don't really have to worry about that anymore. And
yep,
past the November 26th deadline, we do get to see some of the players that were let go by MLS clubs
Mm-hmm.
and probably get a better understanding of what type of players we can get from the MLS market. And that's gonna be, of course, Wednesday, November 26th. Uh, After that, it's gonna be pretty much the dates in December revolving around free agency and the college showcase. We do have the college showcase starting on December 10th, and of course, that's gonna be involving players from the NCAA. Free agency in MLS opens on Wednesday, December 10th, and the day after is going to be when the re-entry process starts. Of course, players under, I believe, if they're eligible, at least 22 years old, and have minimum service of 1 year in MLS, and are not eligible for free agency, they're going to be up for that re-entry process, which is kind of like a draft in between stage one on December 11th and the next week, the week after, which is going to be stage two of that re-entry process. And end of year waivers is going to be the same day for December 11th. Basically, players on the waiver list as well. And the super draft, there's no. It's going to be on December 18th. So everything is going to be happening in December, basically. And I'm sure preseason is going to start right around January, uh, give or take. So
15th,
that 15th,
6,
okay,
6, something like that.
I believe it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
because the first game's gonna be like at the end of March, or excuse me, end of February, because of that the World Cup's changing I think they said
Well,
like almost
it's
half the
been
games are be
it's
played.
been into February for 2 years in a row, so we're expecting into February again. But
Yeah.
they promised the schedule to be released earlier than usual. So
yeah.
hopefully everybody will get to make their marks, and we'll see what time they take off for the World Cup as well. And
Mm-hmm.
y'all be ready, man. Y'all be ready. I'm ready. We'll see what the off season does, but got to hold them accountable. But what else you got, Andres?
No, yeah, more so they're gonna be pushing that schedule around with the World Cup and everything like that. I feel like they're gonna take. I feel like they're gonna take a full month off, or
Yeah, they will.
it will be smart for them to get rid of Leagues Cup for this year, because there's no way they're playing Leagues Cup. But that remains to be seen. But yeah, we do reach the end of the episode. But before we close, we're gonna have to get to the third segment here because it's the end of the season. Of course, a lot of bad things happen when it comes to the team on the field, but off the field, there's a ton of good things happening with the Surge, not just on the stands, but really the community engagement and events that have been going on, and man, just the new initiative to get people engaged with not just the Dynamo but also the community. And I'm so happy to just be a member of Search about that because they've been engaging with fans, and you don't even have to be a member to just be in the stands, in the support section, and all that. It's more so the ability to just be open about everything and welcome fans of like not really that don't need understand soccer Like the kids come in, have fun, and try to learn and meet new people, which is great. But I want to take this opportunity to let OSG and Adrian talk about the search and what they're doing to start the off season, you could say, for Dynamo, but it's pretty much the search is always in season to an extent.
Hey, look, we are the Surge. This will be my 5th year coming in next season for 2026. Looking forward to it. There it is. There's one of the Surge jerseys as well that
Yeah,
you've seen. I got one. He's got a Surge T-shirt on. Man, look at it. There's gear. Adrian's going to get into some details here in a second, man. But we are one of the supporters group, the official supporter groups of the Houston Dynamo. We try to get some people out for the dash. That's still working on that. But man, y'all check it out. There's the Texian, there's EB, there's Vendetta Negro. There's people out there, supporter section. You don't have to be in the supporter section, but there's opportunities to hang out with us, play kickball, play dodgeball, play volleyball, watch parties, just parties, period. With the group, with all the people that you're gonna meet and you're gonna see at the tailgate prior to the
yeah,
game before you come into the stadium and all those good stuff like that, and just opportunities that you're gonna have to hang out when you're like, what am I doing tonight? There's nothing to do tonight. Well, look, and then you have a Discord to chat in, and everybody's cool and just you know you enjoy yourselves. But Adrian, bro, you're a Surge member, man. How has this season been for you as a Surge member? And then break it down and just let us know.
You know what? Since our buddy Zespol's not here, I gotta do something for him real quick.
Oh shit! Yeah,
yeah.
big shout out to Cesspool, bro. Big shout out to Cesspool,
Yeah,
our
Let's get this
favorite
going.
luchador in the
that's awesome.
stands. Always
A little
loud and
settle
proud.
mellow for y'all, but uh, listening to actually, I've been a fan for 20 years. Weirdest place I've seen the Dynamo play is at Whataburger Field in Corpus. Yeah, it was a weird place to watch a soccer game. But right before the season started, watching OSG interview our president Sergio, it's like, you know what? Maybe these guys are good guys. You hang out with us, you're gonna have fun with us. It's not like we're like one certain group or we're one certain way. We're all a little different. We're all a little fun. I gotta take this off. It's getting a little warm in my house because I don't want the fan going on. That we're different than everybody else. If you want to know what's like to be with us, we're everybody. You're gonna find somebody you can get along with. You might not get along with everybody because everyone's different, but that's how the group is better than everybody else. But I say that being a member. As OSG said and Ante said, if you want to go to the surgesg.com, you'll find out more information. 2026 memberships information is coming out soon. You see the warm jerseys. This was a shirt for this year. Always going to be merchandise going on. Never know you get a sticker. Like OSG said, we're hoping the Dynamo continue to let us do tailgates. Show up.
This year's bottle opener.
The bottle opener. You never know. You might get red cards this year, yellow cards coming out in the packet. We're throwing out ideas. We're already getting ready for next season. Season ended. We're already starting for next season. Come to the tailgates. It's free. We do ask you bring some beer if you're going to drink beer, because we don't know what you like. But food is free. Someone might dance with you. You never know. Have a little fun. Like they said, you don't have to be in the Hustletown section. It would be nice if you were, because the more people that sign up, the Dynamo are actually going to give us discounts. So that means cheaper tickets for everybody. Away games, going to Austin, going to Dallas. They're talking about giving us buses to go there, pay for the tickets for us to go there. This year we went to Nashville. Had a little fun in Nashville. Actually got to see a couple players out in the bars that we were at one night. And they admitted they were out with us. I don't think they noticed we were there, but trust me, the team knew we were there. When we go to do stuff, they said, "Hey, we saw y'all there."
You got pictures with Coach.
That was the most randomest thing. I was walking down the street trying to reach my phone, take a picture of Broadway, put my head down to make sure I don't fall down because I got my stomach a little full with some good food. Look up and Ben goes, "Hey, how you doing?" Ben recognized me of all things, and I yelled for everybody. And it was weird. He comes up, shakes my hand, gives me a hug. I go, "Hey, can we get a picture?" He's like, "Yeah, where's everybody at?" randomly on the street. We saw Ben out there. You know, they appreciate that we're there. The team loves it that the attitude, the whole section's going on. You know, if you don't want to pay for the whole membership, they get a jersey. I'm sure we might do a T-shirt. There might be, you never know. There might be a scarf next year. Maybe we'll do our own version of the terrible towel, the 12th man towel A&M does.
Well,
There's a lot of
Adrian,
talk, a lot
speaking
of
of
different things.
member tiers is $25 for the entire year. $25 get you the Discord, get you the opportunities, get you to. Most of us are season ticket holders as well. So if we can't go, we sometimes we offer our ticket up. Well, we get discounted tickets as well to the supporter section, so you get that opportunity too. If you're not a season ticket holder, but you are a supporter member, you get opportunity to go to games for cheaper than what's selling on everyday calls. Like he said, away days. Went to Nashville, DC last year, St. Louis the year before, Denver the year before. Okay, and then that's as far as I'll go back. So I can't tell you where they went before Denver on the first year, if they did go to one. And then Adrian, they talked about there was a drink you mixed at the last tailgate that might be a staple coming forward too.
I don't know. That one was a little strong. It had me a little tipsy working the grill
you
that
could
time.
tone it down a little bit, but it sounds like it was good.
And it happened to be orange too by accident.
Yeah, by accident. It's always a coincidence, but it's the truth.
Hey, and remember the train takes you to the stadium too. So some of y'all, you're worried about driving to the stadium and enjoying the tailgate and being safe. Park somewhere at the Ride and Joy or the whatever they call that, and or find you a park and ride. Take you an Uber from your house to a park and ride, and just ride the train in, and then work your way back to your house, however you wish, and just come enjoy it. And you have an opportunity. We're always 3.5 hours before the game. We start the tailgate. We walk in 30 minutes or march in 30 minutes prior to the game, depending on the situation. So 7:30 game, 7:00 we're marching in. So we're in and we're ready to go by game time. And it's a vibe. It's enjoyable. BYOB, like I said, there's going to be food every time, so you get to come eat. There's going to be other groups around us that are involved in the tailgate as well. We don't know where the tailgate. Yeah, we don't know where the tailgate will be next season. Last year we were at the Sirs lot. We call it the Sirs lot, right next to tailgate on the north. What is that? East side of the stadium, across the block from the trail. But there's opportunities now that everything's torn down on the west side. So we may be over there closer to Woodrow's too as well. So look forward to it, man. But there's a lot to learn. And you don't have to be a Sirs. There's a Texian. There's EB as well. There's other supporters. So there's opportunities and benefits to it. And man, you should look into it. Come hang out with it. Yeah, come hang out with us and check us out. And like I said, us is $25 for a friggin' year. $70, the big tier. $75 is a $25 membership plus $50 gets you one of our custom jerseys that we make every single season. That's different, and to us, shout out Olive in York that makes our jerseys for us as well. So it'll be different. This is one you saw one that Andreas has right there in his hands. We have others, but like I said, I got 4 so far. I'm about to get my 5th one, and we'll be curious to what it is. Oh, sorry. Here's one right here. Here's one right here. Yeah. One of those exists as well. So come on, man. It's Sirs lot, man. Sirs lot, bro. Yeah, Sirs lot. Jeff Strong.
Just follow the Surge, SG on Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I think Thread, TikTok, Facebook. It's all there. Just you can see what we do and what the fun we're having. We're already planning. Got a volleyball night coming up.
Yep.
Talking about going to the Rockets game. Trying to with their little fan section to give us better deal on tickets. With their little rowdy group over there.
Christmas party.
Rowdies, yeah.
Leadership's already talking about having a little fun. In 2 weeks and have a few beers and do some strategies during watching the Texans game. It's about representing Houston and representing yourself.
Definitely.
Hey, I don't know how much. Sorry, Andres. I don't know how much. What is it? Scouting Sergio and Carlos were doing last weekend at the U of H tailgate. It was 8 a.m. and I don't even I don't even know if they remember what happened the rest of the day, but I hope they remember what they were scouting at the tailgate.
So that from there to go to the watch party after that, at pitch 25 where
Yeah,
Brian Ching's plays. And then
yeah,
after that, we went to someone's house, did a little karaoke until I
yeah.
don't remember when.
Yeah, it was a good times though. See, as you say, good times hanging out with good people where you just enjoy it and everybody's just chill and you're having a good time. And then that's what we're about. We're a family without being blood.
And, it's different age group. We got people like OSG and myself. We're a little bit older. Yeah, people even kids go there. We have little temporary tattoos for kids. If you want your kids to look a little savage some days. We all try to have a little bit of fun. We're trying to incorporate the kids more so that people will encourage to bring their families with us. If
Have
you,
some snow cones available too.
I know a truck
Right.
that's really good. I might try to get them to come.
Yeah. And there's always activations, not just when it comes to the tailgates, but there's always something for everybody in the family. Or,
It's like you
or
said. You
really,
follow us on Discord. You
yeah,
might see messages about, especially today, about basketball. You got
yeah.
wrestling.
And
You got
like,
you got somebody's there that likes what you like. Trust me.
yeah. And like they said, you don't even have to be at the games at the tailgate to just enjoy the entire thing because it goes past the stadium. It's pretty much
It's
everything around the
Houston.
community.
It's
It's
Houston.
Houston. Like they bring in ideas, they execute, and they make it happen. Because of course they just mentioned going to Rockets games, volleyball, kickball, dodgeball, like anything that they get up and they get together and make it happen. Because at the end of the day, that's what the community is all about. And if you guys want to check it out, of course, the searchsg.com is their website, but
Hmm.
the search SG, they have the same handle in all the social medias if you guys want to check out the pictures and what they're all about. And like Adrian said, the membership plans for next year, they're going to be posted on the website. But of course, I'm going to be, I should just retweet the search stuff a lot, so you're not going to miss them on Twitter. But their handle is at the search SG if you want to check all their social media posts and all that. But like they said, like I say, I've been engaged with them. I've been a member for I believe 4 years now, 5 years, and it's a great time, y'all. And very affordable, of course. At 20, like the minimum is $25 a year, which pays by itself just by going to all the events. And even then, you don't even have to sit like at your seat. You can always go into the supporter section. They'll let you in, and like Adrian said, discounted support section tickets is the way to go. So it's a great time.
Just to let you know,
And
you're going to stand
yeah,
up. Yeah, there's some chairs there, but don't expect them to be there. That's the stand up, and
yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna get a little wet. It's gonna be a little loud,
of course.
but it's
And
fun.
just be loud.
You're
But
gonna
yeah,
get a little wet. With
yeah.
water, right? With water, with water.
I
Some
don't
of you
know.
might,
I
enjoy
don't know
it.
my wife for that or not.
Yeah, yeah, right.
No,
You're gonna
yeah,
enjoy yourself. That's what he's saying. You're gonna be
definitely,
Oh
excited.
no, it
definitely.
win or lose, it's gonna be fun. You might not be happy
Splash,
that the loss happened, but that's sometimes where the better
splash,
nights happen.
You
splash
still have a
zone.
fun time in the splash zone, like what she said. But no, yeah. Shout out to the Surge. Shout out to Adrian. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and talking Dynamo for like almost an hour and a half. That's insane. We're
Oh
having too
yeah,
much fun. We lost track of time.
it's
But
almost 9:30. Almost my
yeah,
bedtime.
almost bedtime. No, yeah. Shout out to the Surge, man. Shout out to all the supporters and all the fans that 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 make everything happen, and just the city of Houston, man, the community that that will get everything together and we'll make things happen. So as always, guys, we do appreciate you tuning into this episode of No Time. Of course, consider checking out the search at your own pace. Of course, like we say, the search sg.com for the website and at the search sg for the social media handles. For us, Foxtrot Media, Foxtrot TV, at Dynamic Foxtrot is going to be our general handle for Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. We also have a separate handle on X called Noodle Tiempo. It's just us trying to keep you guys updated when it comes to Dynamo Dash Dos. Of course, two of those teams are in the off season right now, but we are still covering Dash, heading to the last game of the year next week. So stay tuned for that one. We did just post our latest Stats Dispatch episode on Foxtrot TV, of course, our YouTube channel where you're watching this live.
Major
Like we said,
shout out to the chatters,
yes.
that joined us tonight live.
There you go,
Yes.
G
Major
Money.
shout out.
There you go, G
Shout
Money.
out to Jeff, Bruce Lee, Carlos Bonilla. There's a lot of people have been engaging. The chat is there's like almost 100 messages in the chat right now. But I just want to make sure I got everybody covered. Carlos Chang, shout out to them. Shout out to them. H Thumb Dude, 1,000.
No,
Shout out to
big shout out, bro.
everybody.
They help
Colby, shout
make
out
the
to
show
Colby.
and part of the show too. Like
Yeah.
whenever we see their comments, obviously when we see their comments, it's a little bit delayed from whenever we're live, a few seconds behind. But we see your comments and we try to comment on them as much as possible. So that's, man, shout out to y'all for participating and being here with us. And bro, H is up to all y'all out there that come in and support us. And we'll see you on the other side.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody that tuned in live over the course of the episode, and shout out to everybody that has been engaged in the comments as well, giving us questions. And yeah, just make sure you share this with all your people when it comes if they follow Dynamo, Dash, soccer in general, and give us a like. Hit the subscribe button. It helps us a lot with the algorithm, and we're trying to hit our subscriber goal. I think we're still a little bit under 330, but once again, we do appreciate you guys for helping us reach our milestone just yet. We'll go way over from here. We do have a lot of things planned out for next year, and man, I look forward to the things we have planned for you guys, and we'll be announcing it soon. But before we go, we still have the password.
One more reminder. I
the
haven't
password-
stolen it yet.
The password for the Albert Feliz bobblehead giveaway, which is gonna be secret and only the people that follow the all of our content. Everybody, this is gonna be a giveaway for you guys because we do appreciate you. The password for the giveaway is Rashid Olaviji, one of the Dynamo goats. Rashid Olaviji is gonna be part of the instructions that I'm gonna be sharing on Twitter very soon. So here it is. It's in the box. I promise. I do have one over there on my desk, but the other one is right here. So, but yeah. Before we go, Jeff, where's Lisa Cat? He's outside. He's sleeping right now. Because I'm recording in my room, but he's outside. But he hasn't been knocking on my door, so he's probably asleep. But
Nobody interrupted tonight. Nobody interrupted or walked in your room.
Yeah. No, yeah. Alright, guys. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. And yeah, man.
Hey, Adrian, big shout out and covering for JC.
Yeah.
Who?
That's not my president.
What happened? What happened, JC? Where you at, bro?
Where's the JC, man? Come on. Alright, guys. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Adrian, once again, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody in the chat. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And as always, guys, didn't know y'all.
H is up.